Today we are building a boat, but not just any boat, a big boat. A big boat to celebrate the channel getting to 1,000 subs. Thank you so much for that, by the way. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to build it close to my base because I want my stuff to be a little bit closer together if possible from now on. Now we need to find a good spot to put it first and even put down a conduit to help us navigate these rough waters out here. Now I'm going to start by using these stone blocks to at least get the shape of it down before we really commit to anything fully. I guess let's make it facing the farmland so that we can make a fishing port and some docks at some point in the future. There are no stair block variants of this block, so I guess we're going to use andesite, which is close enough. I'm not sure how much of the ship actually goes under the water, but I don't want it to be that much. Okay, that's not a bad shape for the bottom. Then it comes up to has like a nose thing, and then the back of it is kind of mostly flat, right? Or no, it has layers like out, then in, then out again for different floors. So maybe we'll do like 3 floors for the main ship, and then like 2 or 3 for the top part where they have the map room and the captain quarters. Let's take a look at this. I mean, it's starting to look like a ship, I think. Now we need to make some really big sails as well, so let's grab some more stone to make those. Okay, the sail in the middle will have the biggest one, but how many sails do each one of them get? I'm gonna do like 3 in the front and back and maybe 4 for the middle. Yeah, let's do 3, 4, 3. That's a Halo reference. I'm gonna use stone blocks to mark where each of the sails attach to the mast itself and try to make a small arch for each of the sails. This isn't a bad size and shape for the first one, but the middle one will have to be like 5 or 10 blocks taller than that one, I think. Sails are in place now. Now we just need to get this like pointy nose bit where the front sail's attached to it, so let's see how steep this thing needs to be. I think that looks fine, right? So now we just need to attach the sails to the front of this thing. Is that too steep? I feel like it's fine, and then we just attach another one to the top of the mast. Yeah, there we go. That's what I imagine a ship would look like. I think it's in the water enough, but the nose does look a little bit odd to me, but I guess we'll just let it sit for now. Let's actually grab some fences and make these masts go up a little bit further as well. Perfect. Now we just need lots of wool to make the sails. I'm not doing this to avoid making the ship itself. Who would ever do that? I'm not scared. Came here to the slime city so we can turn this cactus into bone meal so we can dye a bunch of wool white since I don't actually have enough white wool. Okay, we have our spruce wood for the mast and we have the wool for the sails, so I guess let's start piecing this thing together. For the part where it connects to the sails, let's go ahead and put some stairs and some trapdoors on the flat side of the mast. Looking pretty good so far. Let's go ahead and do the other 2 real quick. Now because the sails are going to be white, I feel like the one up front should be a different color, maybe gray, so it's not so different that it stands out way too much. We'll just leave it like this for now and see how we feel about it the more time goes on. Now for the sails, clearly they should get wider as they get closer to the ship, but the real question is, how big do we need to start them and end them? It does look a little bit odd with the bottom sail being so squished, but I think I can live with that. Once again, same goes for the other masts, but probably keep them the same width as each other. It kind of looks like a rib cage, or the stick bug from A Bug's Life. Yeah, let's continue. I want them to have holes here so it only attaches to certain spots instead of having the entire thing covered. We also need to make it wider in the sail as it comes down, so maybe like the halfway point we can make it go out 1 block. What do we think about that? The shape of it looks pretty good, but I don't know if it being entirely white is a good plan, but I guess we'll see when we get there. Alright, I'm happy with the sails. Now let's replace the stone blocks for wood so that we can actually start seeing how it's going to look all together. I keep saying this, but now that it's actually made of wood instead of stone, I actually kind of feel like it's starting to look like a ship. Okay, let's try to make these both gray and see how we feel about it. I think we need a sail on the back of the ship as well, like one of those big square rectangle looking ones. I think the bottom is longer than the top, right? So let's try this shape out and see if it works. Oh, I just remembered that ships typically have a crow's nest, right? Is that only on the biggest mast? I guess we need to do that too. Let's say like right here on top of the biggest sail, maybe trapdoors to give it like a thinner border around it. What about this? It looks like it's attached to it now. I gotta remove the trapdoors for ladders, I think, so I guess let's grab some of those. There we go, a crow's nest that is accessible. Now we need to figure out how wide the ship is gonna be. Not as wide as the sails, but not that much smaller. I think the middle of the ship is a little bit wider than the front and the back, right? I think. So let's give that a shot. I think I'm happy with the shape of this so far, but here comes the really tricky part, which is actually having to fill in the full shape of this thing. Okay, I've spent some time on the bottom part of the ship and it's giving me some trouble. Here was my reaction trying to build this thing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, Let's just finish the part that's under the water. This shouldn't be that bad since we made the shape of it beforehand. We just have to connect each one of them. We're definitely gonna need some stairs and slabs under here to make the transition a little bit smoother because right now it's looking a little bit flat. This should make it seem a little bit softer of a transition and make it more rounded rather than squared. Now the shape of the front is a little more angled and pointed, so we need to make sure that we use stairs here to give it that right angle we need, but finding a way to do that is a little bit tricky for me. Finishing off the part under the water, we're really just gotta connect each of these sides, which are mostly straight, and this should be the easiest part of the whole build. Here we go. This is what I think the bottom floor of the ship is gonna look like once we're able to get inside. Let's just go ahead and get rid of all this water in the most inefficient way possible. Yeah, that went really well. Let's actually make the masts go all the way down to the bottom, even though they might get in the way later. Next, we can go ahead and mark off where the next floor of the ship is going to be, and since we don't have that much room, the height of each floor can only be like 2.5 blocks tall. Taking a view from a little further away, I'm liking how the project is coming out so far, but I hope you guys like it too because I am technically building this for y'all. I'm going to go ahead and try to build a staircase to get to each of the floors. Definitely not because I'm nervous to build more of the ship. No, that's definitely not the reason. Okay, I think this will be a good start. I also think that the fences might actually be taking up too much space, but we can leave it for now, I guess, at least. I decided to use dark wood as a secondary building block, so I need to go gather some real quick. Alright, this should be enough. Let's go ahead and head back. Every time I've seen someone build a ship, they always use these oak trap doors for these like floor areas, so I think that would be a good addition to mine as well. Lanterns for lighting, because I don't want to have any torches around. Also, lanterns just feel more accurate to the time period for the ship anyways. Alright, I think we've avoided it long enough. Let's work on the body of this bad boy. I was right, these fences take up too much space. Let's remove them. Now for the sides of the ship, we can put a row of stairs to kind of give that angle that we're looking for. Holy, look at this. The shaders really do make this thing feel more fantasy-like. That's really cool. Now I'm just spending a little more time placing more of the walls down and deciding whether or not I like the shape of it. Instead of having a full side of stairs, maybe we can add some full blocks here so it gives it more ridges so it doesn't seem so flat. Let's actually swap out the full blocks and instead use trap doors. That way it doesn't just blend together. Yeah, I actually like that way better, not gonna lie. So let's go ahead and do that to the other side. Now we only have one more layer to go until we finish the next level of the ship, so we really just have to line these walls up with the ribs that we made earlier. We could extend these trap doors and put stairs between them to really add to the depth that we're going for. I mean, that's not bad looking, but I think we need to use dark oak because it still kind of blends in a little too well. Adding dark oak to the build is definitely the right call. Let's use more of that for sure. Let's just throw a floor in real quick so I don't keep dropping to the floor below where I'm working. Okay, let's go ahead and incorporate more of the dark oak to the front side of the ship as well because we like it so much. How do we feel about it? I think I like it. The back part can also use some dark oak attached to it as well. Now I know ships wouldn't typically have glass windows, but I think that they go nicely with it, so let's just do it anyways. And let's frame them with dark oak trapdoors so we can wrap that same sort of color around the back end and bring it all together. Now let's go ahead and make the stairs to each level of the ship. It has to be kind of skinny to make sure it doesn't feel too claustrophobic in here though. I think this will work, and we can add trap doors back down to keep that same look and give us more walking space. Yeah, I'm fine with this. Let's go ahead and put them all down real quick. Now, of course, we need to work on the front of the ship, which might not be too bad. It's definitely going to need some stairs at the front and not whole blocks. This bit also needs to be more rounded, coming to the point of the nose, but we'll do that here in a second. Let's go ahead and finish putting down the floor, but man, this thing is really coming together, isn't it? Now for the captain's quarters. This part I'm actually going to personalize and put all of my like nostalgic items in here, kind of like my CEO desk or something like that. I want to frame this thing with dark oak, with the inside being spruce to help it stand out a bit more. Okay, there we go. I think the darker colors do stand out nicely, especially with the borders being darker, and we all know how I feel about dark outlines. For the sides, I want to do a similar thing with the stairs and give it more depth. I think to make a build look a lot more detailed without doing that much is you just need more depth and different colors. How do we feel about this? The ends do feel a little bit too similar, so let's strip the wood and see if that helps. If we strip this wood to make it lighter, then the middle block can be dark oak instead. Let's go ahead and throw some trapdoors between the stairs real quick while I'm thinking about that. Now the windows can be thrown in and we can go ahead and put the rest of the walls in. Question is, how do we want the front face to look? I like this, but it's gonna need lights for sure. Now the butt of this thing is getting too dark, so let's add some lanterns here as well. I got distracted while streaming, so I did a little bit without recording, but this is the walkthrough of what I got so far. We got some stairs, and back under them will be the treasure room, I think. Let's go ahead and start with the border walls of this room up top. Of course, with more stairs to give it depth. Speaking of, this little underspot could use some slabs and trapdoors to give it more character as well. This is a different style video from my last one because I'm basically figuring it out as I go, and I don't really know what I'm doing. Remember the clip from earlier? I have no idea what I'm doing. So far this thing is looking really cool, but I don't have much room until we hit the bottom of the sail, which I didn't really see coming somehow. Let's go ahead and get the walls going for this final floor so we know how tall we can make this thing. Chad suggested that we also make a shark and name it Cuddle, so I guess we're going to be adding that at the end. How do we feel about the shape? In the shaders, it's making it look epic, but I could just have more of a positive attitude because it's going way better than I expected. Add some lanterns on the sides by the windows. I don't know exactly how I want the floor to go, but it shouldn't go any higher than this because our head's going to hit the ceiling. Speaking of, now we need a roof, and it can't be too tall because we're going to hit the sail. Man, with all this planning at the beginning, you'd think I would be a little bit in a better spot. Okay, we can actually make it go down a little bit as it passes under the sail, giving the illusion that we have more headspace than we actually do. Yeah, here we go, we can just barely squeeze under this here. And the actual roof will be half a block lower to give it more depth. Nice. That's actually not a lot of room. What if we did stairs with slabs instead of stairs so that the top floor was a little bit roomy? More roomy? Let's try that. Well, I clearly didn't think this through. Okay, we could do stairs, but not add the extra little half slab at the floor itself. I mean, that helped for sure. It's definitely better than it was. The dark oak is definitely a good addition. I really like the contrast of color that we have going on here so far. Now for the front, we are going to do the map room, and we can basically do the same sort of dark oak frame that leads to the bottom of the nose thing. Let's actually add some more dark oak around the front that's the same thickness as the little window slots. I think that is good enough. It gives a new color without it being a completely colored change, so I think that's fine. Change the bottom layer of the nose bit, not the whole thing. Perfect. Now onto the map room itself. I can't mimic the back, but I can make it look somewhat similar. Well, that looks a little flat. It's gonna need help for sure. No, not that. Maybe this instead. We can add some of the gates as well to help here. Or perhaps normal fences and lanterns would be better actually. We have a little more room for a roof, which is nice, but I also don't want it to be too tall. Okay, let's give the inside of the room a little more character with these little window slots. I think that will look nice. Well, I definitely don't like having one long window, so let's break that up a bit. Yeah, that looks a lot better. It just has to bleed into the nose a little bit with a smooth-ish transition. Stairs for the walls, add the roof in, then the dark border frame, and then we can just have it move into the nose. We could just put some fences down for the front side of this room with a lantern on it, and then we can go ahead and put some upside down stairs to be the table to have the map on. Well, the map room is done, and now I think that it was a mistake to make the sails completely white. I think some of them need to be red. Maybe not all of them, but maybe. I don't know. Let's just run and grab some red wool from the quarry base real quick. Let's just make a bunch of shears and start tearing this thing down, I guess. The red looks really dope, not gonna lie, so let's go ahead and do the same thing to the last sail as well and see if we want to keep one of them white or not. Okay, this was a mistake. The middle one should stay white, I think. Unfortunately, I think these things need to go back to being white, so I think I'll need to change them back. Oh. Okay, back to this version of the sails. Now we just gotta change these to be white and we'll be good. These masts also need flags, which need to be the other color from the sails, so if the sail is red, the flag will be white and waving in the wind. I mean, I think that looks like a waving flag. Let's do it to the others as well. Perfect, actually, those look great. Now we can add some carpet to the map room to bring the red into other aspects of the ship. Also going to be adding it to the captain's quarters because I think it'll make me feel more like royalty. It's actually on a half slab, so maybe not. We can decide how we're going to do that here in a little bit. For the sails, we need to have one of them being a YouTube play button and then the other one having the number 1000 on it. Not gonna lie, it looks a little trippy with the angle of the sails, but that's totally fine. I think it still looks like it says 1000. Boom, the YouTube play button is done as well. Also looks a little bit wonky, but it gives it character, it's fine. Now I gotta get rid of all these torches and add lanterns around the ship instead. It just looks so much better. For the front of the sail, we can actually use some glow lichen because it's much more subtle of a light source. Now the map room's gonna need some item frames, and we can just do like a basic map here, nothing too extravagant. I'll actually make the maps later, but let's go ahead and do the treasure room because I'm actually really excited about this part. Let's get rid of these so we can have more room, maybe add them to the corners instead. Let's just throw some barrels down. Next we can throw some random blocks around like emeralds, diamonds, gold, redstone, and amethyst. I actually want to experiment with these little micro blocks in here as well so that the jewels kind of vary in size a little bit. I also have this armor stand mod that allows you to place items onto the ground, which I've never really used before and they are a little finicky. We can also use this cool tripwire trick to put a sword mounted on the wall back here. It actually looks really cool. This is definitely a pretty good looking treasure room. Fair amount of goodies in here, but not like a ton. Now every ship needs cannons, so that's what we're going to be doing next. Looks like a cannon to me. Maybe we could put a wall on the back, but it is kind of huge. Let's actually change the wall to a lever and see if that's fine. I think that's fine actually, and it does give us a little more room, so we can do that I think. I want to see what it looks like when it pokes out of the ship a little bit. It'll give us more room in here and I guess look more realistic. It kind of looks a little bit odd from the outside of the ship, but I think having some of them in and some of them out will actually go well. Adding a stair to the back actually fits really well here. Good suggestion from the chat. Now let's throw some cannons up top as well. Not too many, I don't want to crowd the main deck, but maybe like 2 per side. Perfect, 2 cannons. Now we can actually take these micro blocks of the polished blackstone and make it look like little cannonballs are kind of scattered around each of the cannons. Another suggestion to name all of the micro block cannonballs so we can just kind of store them in barrels in the back. Good plan. I even added some mini TNT ones around randomly so it does give it like a pop of color, but also seems like they have explosive ammo. But alright, I think we put it off long enough. Let's fly around and gather all the maps we need for the map room. I want to be able to climb on this table to see the full map, so we're going to have to raise the roof up a little bit. There we go, let's take a look at that. Yeah, that looks perfectly fine to me. Now the next floor will be a storage / sleeping hut space, and then the bottom will be prison with cells. Unfortunately, we need to remove one of the staircases from each of the levels so that we have enough room to actually put stuff in there. For storage, let's just add some random chests, scaffolding, and barrels around. I thought the scaffolding might look like empty racks, maybe? Oh, chiseled bookshelves. I've actually never made these before. They might actually look good here. Yeah, I like that. Now we can do the bed cots, and let's use red carpet again for these I think. Maybe we can make what looks like small hammocks looking things with carpets and levers. Throw some slabs on the top of it to make it feel like it's really attached to the ceiling. Sweet, now we can go ahead and make more storage on the other side of the ship as well with the same blocks. We can also have another layer of bed cots on each side, I think. It will be a little bit tight in here, but it will feel like there's more crew that lives here. I'm actually going to go ahead and grab all of my enchanted books and even regular books and just kind of throw them randomly on these shelves. Actually, you know what would look really dope? Treasure maps. I have to go back to the quarry base to get them, but that's fine. We have a couple over there. Well, I guess I'm going to be putting them on barrels since you can't put them on scaffolding. Very nice. Okay, on to the next floor. We need to mark out where each of the cells are going to be first just so we can see how many we can fit. They're going to be a little bit oddly shaped, but that's fine. I think this will work. Let's just add some half slabs on top as well. Now, what's the mob that I hate interacting with more than any others and definitely deserves to be in a prison cell? Villagers. We're going to be putting villagers in these things. I just cut a hole in the side of the ship so we can boat them right into their cells. Now I have a villager breeder here that I can use, but it should have been going this whole time. It might take too long for my taste, but we can have these 2 to start with. Alright, first one's in the boat. Let's take him to his new home. Here we go, your new permanent residence. You're going to love it here, I bet. Yeah, he looks real cozy. Got the second one in his cell. No babies yet, but I think I know why. Are we exchanging carrots? Okay, that sounds bad. Are we enjoying each other's company? They're saying no! Okay. never mind. Luckily, there's a village that isn't that far away, so I can just grab some from there. Wow, from this angle, his head looks really rather large. No offense to him, of course, but I can't even see myself. Got a 3-for-1 special on this trip. Hope they enjoyed the freedom and fresh air while it lasts. Now they're all inside, and we just gotta seal up the side of the ship before it starts to sink. Last but not least, the captain's quarters with all my memories and nostalgia items. Had to run back to the quarry base to get Bella because she spent way too long over there by herself. Alright, we got Bella in her place. Now I think I want to cut this front section off and have like a balcony so I can have that steering wheel out there. I took some time to really experiment with the idea of making a balcony here while keeping the same sort of mindset and ideas that we had from the other sections of the ship. Which means we need to make sure that it has depth as well as spots for lights and good use of dark and spruce wood. I even got to use these hanging signs for the first time, which I think turned out really nicely. We also incorporated these gates like we did on the main hull of the ship to not make the balcony's point of view seem so blocked. This is what we ended up with. I'm really happy with it because it really makes the captain quarters feel more important up there. I'm not really sure what to use for a steering wheel, but let's just use this as a placeholder. Now for my desk, we need a chair, and the desk itself can be made out of stairs. Armor stand in this corner for my first ever full diamond gear set in this world. And then the other one will be my first ever full iron set. Let's add my first ever notch apple over here and my millionth block mined on the other side. The only deep slate emerald ore I've ever found, as well as my first diamond pick and trident in this world. Let's go ahead and throw some red carpets around because I do want to feel a little fancy while sitting in my chair. Dragon egg can go on the desk, but it is a little bit big. But the dragon head can go on the wall. Let's do an elder guardian head as well because that is technically a boss mob. My godly fishing rod definitely needs to go up here as well. I should also put a pile of enchanted apples over here on my desk because why not? Oh, I actually have the wither boss heads as well. 3 different ones, so we could put them here as well. Let's actually add one more enchanted apple to this pile. I don't think 2's a pile, 3 is a pile. I also had this mod where you can buy your friends' Minecraft skins heads from the Wandering Trader, so I'm gonna put them in here as well. There we go, my desk is coming together quite nicely. Now as promised, we need to build a shark named Cuddles. Originally I thought about designing my own, but then I saw a video that I will link down below where I got this design from. After I saw it, I had to have it. It's a Megalodon, so it's going to be massive, but before we get to building, we kind of need to drain out some water so we can do a nice little time lapse. Not gonna lie, putting a stone parameter around something in the water makes me have flashbacks to when I was draining the water from my mega base. And just like with the base, we have to put some sand down so we can sponge out all the water. While draining out the water, we actually spotted a little chicken swimming around. Now I don't feel like he's gonna be safe after Cuddles the Megalodon shows up, so let's actually get him out of this situation. He can go into our office on the opposite side of Bella. His name will be Mr. Piddles, the rescue chicken. Now let's build a shark. Before we do the grand reveal of the entire project, we still have to add some statues for those who kept me company along the way as crew members of the ship. Lotus wants to be riding Cuddles the shark, so let's make that happen. Dak of course is in the crow's nest, and then we have Yono, our driver. But after all of that, here we are. The 1,000 subscriber ship and Cuddles the shark are now completed. Now for the comment of the day, I want to do something a little bit different. I'm giving it to multiple people, so I will just have their names listed here. The reason I'm giving it to multiple people is because they saw my homage to my mother's battle with breast cancer and wished her the best, and that means a lot to me. I don't want to put each of their comments in the book, but I can put them on screen now. It means a lot, fellas. I really appreciate the kind words. If you want to see that video of me making my mega base, click at the top right of your screen now. Leave a sub to show some love and also know when another video gets posted. Also, feel free to join me in my live streams as well as make suggestions that might make it into our next video. The link for the Discord server is down below as well, so you can stay up to date with me and join the community. But above all else, have a marvelous day. Peace.